So what we're going to start off with first is showing how you guys can very quickly get your games up and running with new types of characters. And the way this is going to happen is very similar to how we actually did the rollerball. So if we look at our project panel, you should see something similar to this. And we have our standard assets folder, just as we did before. I'm going to shrink it down. And we have characters. So before we would go into characters, and we would go into rollerball, and then go into prefabs. However, if we go back up to the top level of characters, you can see there's actually a first-person character and a third-person character right there for us to mess around with. So we can start playing around with this and seeing how things work. So we have a first-person character. I'm going to double-click on that. I'm going to go into the prefabs. If you guys do not have the standard assets package, you guys maybe weren't here at one of the previous workshops, the way that you can get that installed is going up to assets here and going down to import package and going over to characters. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. Cool. So we're going to just go into the prefabs folder. And then, so there are two types, FPS controller, first person shooter, I think is what they have it named after, but an FPS controller and a rigid body FPS controller. So the difference here is that a regular FPS controller does not use physics to move around, whereas the rigid body one uses a rigid body, so it uses physics. I'm going to pull in the rigid body first person controller and just plop it down there. Maybe press F so I can zoom in on it a little bit. Okay, looking good. And I'm going to, so I guess what we can do is just try to press play. If we might want to drag this up a little bit. You can see it's green body right there. I'll just drag it up a little bit. So we can try pressing play and seeing what happens. I actually don't know what's going to happen here. Yeah, some weird stuff, to say the least. So since I was on the title screen, you can see that we had our character pulled in, but we're still using our first-person character one. Not the best. So I'm actually going to switch over to Forest World instead of the title screen and not save this one, just because I want to work outside of the title screen with my first-person character. So do the same thing as we did before. Drag in our rigid body first-person controller, drag it up a little bit, and then if we press play, you can see if you move your mouse, you'll be able to look around, and you'll see the rollerball as we had it before. If you move, you might actually see that the rollerball moves along with you. This could be a great game mechanic idea. I'm not sure how you would do it, but it looks like it has potential. Very cool, very cool. So I'll try to hop up too. Nope. So this is our first issue that we actually encounter. So before we had our power-ups nice and tailored to our rollerball, but now they're not as tailored to our new first-person controller. So that's something we're going to have to fix. But you guys can see very quickly that we already have a first-person character. I'm going to do some cleanup real quick. I'm going to take the rollerball and turn it off. And I'm also going to take the main camera up here, the one that we were previously using, and turn that one off for now as well. And the reason for that is if we look at our rigid body FPS controller and look inside of it, it already has a main camera. So we're good. We can just use its main camera. Awesome. So as we saw before, we have these power-ups. Jump power is 15 currently. I might try something like 100 and see if that works. No, not much. Maybe if I jump. Nope. So obviously this isn't doing the job. There's a few things that could be happening here. Any guesses before we go into it? No? Okay. So if any of you guys remember, previously whenever we had our super jump power-ups, we made sure to check that the object that collided with the power-up was tagged player. So, and previously our rollerball was tagged player by default. But if we look at our first-person shooter controller, we see that there's no player tag up here. So that's why when it's looking at it, it's saying, oh, this isn't the player, I'm not going to boost it into the air. So quick fix, go down here, click player, Okay, let's test that one out now. And hopefully that one works. And let's give it a jump. Yep, there we go. Okay, that one definitely worked. I can guarantee you that one. Pretty high. Wow, we're still going up. Okay, but you can see, so you'll just start to have to mess around. When you start implementing new types of characters, you definitely run the risk of starting to break old things that you had. So be careful with that as a thing. And into the mountains we go. And I didn't set up a teleport zone, so I'm just going to fall forever. Cool. And if you're in this mode and you can't press unplay, you have to press escape to get access to your mouse cursor again and go to play. Or if you want to go really fast, you can just press Control or Command P for play. Awesome. And I might do some fixes, right? I'd probably rotate this around so it's facing the right way. You can see where the camera is facing by these. But I think you guys get the idea of how first-person characters work. So that's our first-person character. So I'm going to turn that one off for now. I think that's a good example of how you can very quickly jumpstart your game and have a character working. So if you want to have a different experience, maybe one that looks at it from a third-person perspective, we can go ahead and drag in a third-person character. So going down, we have AI third-person controller and just a regular third-person controller. In this case, we want to control it, so we're just going to drag in the regular third-person controller. Now, if we press play, let's see what happens with our third-person character dragged in. Anybody having difficulty finding it? No? We press play. No cameras rendering. Well, if we remember correctly, we actually disabled our main camera previously for our first-person character. So let's go ahead and re-enable that. We need to be able to see our scene. So if we click that back on and then press play. Cool. We got our thing here, and we can move around by pressing the arrow keys, or WASD. And sort of just walking around. We can go over here and see what's up. Nothing's happening, as of right now at least. I can jump off the edge right there, just fall off. That's actually pretty comical. Cool. There's a few issues right now with this one. If I were to just give you guys some pointers on how to fix it up, our camera currently isn't following our player, so I would maybe drag our third-person controller into the ball component of camera follow. Not the best name, maybe target would have been better, but I'm going to drag the third-person controller in, and I'm going to do the quick check that we did before. Click on third-person character and see, not tagged as player, so we're going to have the same issues as previously. So I'm going to click on the tag it as player, and then press play and see if that one gives us what we're looking for. So if I walk up to this power-up, yep, there we go. That's what I want to see. Okay, so we are now jumping, and now we're falling. So you can see the animations in this one are very well created. This is all developed by Unity.